I am Valerie, 23 years old, and a librarian in Seattle, shelving books by day while scraping together cash to keep my family from drowning. For 3 years, nearly half my paycheck disappeared every month into expenses I barely questioned, into needs no one fully explained. And yet the longer it went on, the more I sensed something unspoken waiting underneath. Graduation night was supposed to celebrate my degree in literature, but at that dinner table, it all cracked. Mom slammed her fork down, her face twisted red. "The freeloader is old enough, get out of this house." The room froze, forks hovering midair. Dad grunted agreement, eyes on his plate. My sister lunged up, grabbing my backpack from the chair and hurling it out the open door into the driveway. "Go live in the trash!" She spat, her laugh sharp as glass. The bag hit the gravel with a thud, spilling my diploma and keys. Heat surged through me, but I didn't yell, didn't bother. I stood chair scraping loud and walked out the door, leaving the clatter of their shock behind. No explosion, no tears, just gone. 1 week later, my phone rang at Dawn, Mom's number. "Help, the bank is foreclosing on the house." Her voice broke, all the venom drained. I listened to her plead, the irony twisting like a knife. All those years of freeloader jabs, and now this. I laughed cold and clear, then called my sister. "There's $2 in the trash." Her stunned silence was the sweetest sound. That call, it ignited everything. Before I get to my story, I want to know what time you're listening and what city you're in. I'm glad to know how far my story has spread. The turnaround had been brewing for years long before that fork slammed down. 3 years back, I'd stepped into the role of family fixer after Dad's warehouse layoff left our Seattle bungalow teetering. Harold, my father, had hauled crates for decades, his knees giving out at 55, and Evelyn, my mother, quit her retail job the same week, citing stress overload. Bills snowballed, mortgage notices piling on the counter, lights flickering, and I dove in head first, transferring $800 monthly from my librarian salary plus extras, like Fiona's startup fees, that vanished into thin air. It started innocent enough, a wire for Harold's back therapy, a check for Evelyn's grocery run. But the pattern locked in fast, Fiona dialing during my lunch breaks with his casual whine. "Val, the van's dead, $600 gets it towed and fixed." Fiona, 20 and crashing on their couch after dropping out of community college, always had a plan, Wesley, his hype man, chiming in from the line. I'd cover it, dipping into my overtime pay while shelving returns at the library, Harper's daycare fees squeezed tighter each month. "You're the rock," Evelyn would say over phone calls, her voice laced with that mix of thanks and expectation, as if my burnout was just collateral. Dr. Nolan, my therapist, I'd squeeze sessions into after a panic attack mid-shift, leaned back during our first talk, notepad in lap. "Valerie, this isn't generosity, it's a trap. You're propping up their choices while yours erode. Track every transaction, boundaries start with proof." His advice stuck like glue, and I fired up a spreadsheet that night, logging dates and amounts in the glow of my laptop. $400 for Fiona's marketing course, $200 for Harold's union dues. Present perfect of the grind. I'd been their safety net, convincing myself it was love, not leverage. Inheritance alerts started pinging, strange by fall minor glitches. At first, a $50 deduction flagged as administrative, then $100 from the family trust account Grandma left. I chalked it up to bank errors, too drained after closing the library to probe. But one chilly evening, as fog rolled in off the sound, and I locked up the stacks, another notification vibrated my pocket. Suspicious activity transfer of $1,000 from inheritance fund. My keys jangled loose in my hand. To who? The app revealed the trail routed to Harold's checking memo, family adjustment. Fingers numb. I cross-referenced the trust docs, the signature line, a shaky match to mine dated back 6 months. Fiona's handwriting on the cosign Wesley's notary stamp crooked. The betrayal landed like a gut punch breath shallow in the empty parking lot. I'd guarded that inheritance for Harper's future, a nest egg from Grandma's will after her nursing days. Now siphoned for their adjustments, Harold's debts, Evelyn's relief, Fiona's investments. I'd trusted the vault the vows of, for the grandkids, but this breach it shattered the illusion. By the time I reached home, Harper asleep with her booklight on the numbers screamed theft. No more illusions. No more net. The breach gnawed at me through the weekend sleep, fractured by what-ifs. Monday morning, I logged into the inheritance portal from the library's quiet corner. The screen's glow harsh under fluorescent hum. Grandma's trust fund meant for my future and Harper's college showed a glaring withdrawal. $20,000 pulled 3 months back, the digital signature, a pixelated mimic of my own. Cosigner Fiona. My brother Fiona, 20 and entrepreneur in name only, had dragged Wesley into it, his fiancé's notary stamp crooked on the approval form. They'd funneled it to a family venture, Fiona's latest bar pop-up, Evelyn's emergency buffer. My fingers stilled on the keyboard, coffee turning bitter in my mouth. I'd guarded that fund like a vault contributions from Grandma's nursing days, earmarked for stability after her passing. Now rated for their venture atoll, with interest fees ticking up like a bomb. I printed the statements, the paper crisp in my shaking hands, and forwarded copies to Ellis by lunch. "This is elder fraud territory," he emailed back. "But since it's your inheritance, we can push identity theft up to 10 years in Washington." The demands started rolling in that afternoon, Fiona's text hitting during a story hour break. "Val, the venue's locked $5,000 for the deposit. Wesley's folks chipped $2,000. We need your slice to seal it." Slice. As if my drained trust was a pie to carve. Evelyn followed with a voicemail, her voice quivering. "Honey, the wedding's falling apart without it. Think of your niece or nephew on the way." Niece. As if shoving Harper into shadows made me aunt material. "It's only temporary," she added, the line crackling. Temporary. Like the backpack in the driveway was temporary. I paced the stacks. Books towering silent, the guilt twisting like smoke. But the manipulation clicked clear, Fiona's ventures always temporary, Evelyn's pleas always just this once. Another text from Fiona. "Come on, sis, don't be the holdout. Mom's counting on you." Counting. I'd been counted on for years, my salary, the family's shadow income. Wesley chimed in via group chat. "Valerie, it's for love, $2,000 max." Love? The word soured memories flashing of Fiona's loans, vanishing into bar tabs. Harper tugged my skirt, then her story time drawing done. "Mommy read about the fox." Her eyes sparkled innocent, and the resolve hardened. No more counting on me. I drafted a reply to the group, fingers steady. "Love doesn't forge signatures or hurl backpacks. Handle your wedding, I'm handling mine." The chat exploded, Fiona's all caps. "What?" Evelyn's "please reconsider," but I muted it, the silence a small victory. Guilt texts kept pinging Evelyn's next. "You're breaking our hearts. The house is already strained. This pushes us over." Strained. As if my inheritance wasn't the strain. By evening, the pieces locked Fiona's cosign, Wesley's stamp, Harold's adjustments to the fund docs. $20,000 gone, fees compounding daily. I forwarded it all to Ellis, the email whoosh, a quiet war cry. The demands weren't asks, they were claims on what I'd built. No more. The demands escalated that evening, pulling me back to the bungalow despite the storm inside. The front door creaked open to the smell of roasting chicken, Evelyn's attempt at normalcy, but the air hummed tense. Harold sat at the head of the table, napkin tucked in his collar. Fiona slouched beside Wesley, who nursed a beer. The dining room chandelier cast harsh shadows, silverware glinting like knives. Harper played on the floor with her blocks, her giggles the only light until Evelyn called us to plates. "Family time," she said, voice strained, as if words could glue the cracks. We passed the mashed potatoes fork scraping china, but Harold broke the silence with a grunt. Valerie, still hiding behind books at that library time to step up for real. His eyes flicked to Harper, dismissive. Evelyn piled on her smile tight. Kids like her need structure, not a mom chasing dreams in a dead-end job. The jabs landed like stones, years of not enough, from holidays to report cards. Wesley chuckled low, but Fiona ramped it, snatching my backpack from the chair and hurling it out the open window to the porch. "Freeloaders don't get seats." He barked, the bag thumping against the rail, spilling my wallet and keys. Harper froze, blocks tumbling from her hands, her lip quivering. I'd swallowed their venom for years. Extra shifts for their emergencies. Harper's birthday skipped for their debts. No more. "You call her a freeloader." My voice cut through low and edged. Harold snorted. "She's a burden you can't afford. Get real." Evelyn dabbed her mouth. "We've carried you long enough." Fiona leaned in, smirking. "Trash like that belongs outside." The word trash ignited it. I lunged for my phone app, open in seconds, thumb slamming cancel on the rent draft, utilities, Fiona's loans, all gone. Confirmations flashing red. The table fell silent, forks midair. "Freeloaders don't owe you a dime." I hissed, eyes locking on each, Harold's jaw slack. Evelyn's napkin dropping, Fiona's smirk cracking. Harper whimpered and I scooped her up, her small arms around my neck. Wesley stammered, "Val, wait, this is crazy." Harold bolted up, chair crashing. "You can't cut us off, the mortgage bounces tomorrow." Evelyn's tears flowed instant. "How could you hurt us like this?" Hurt them. As if the backpack in the mud wasn't hurt enough. Fiona jabbed a finger. "You'll regret it, crawlback." Broke. Threats flew, but I was already moving Harper on my hip backpack snatched from the porch. I paused at the door, rain pattering outside. "Figure your mess out." The knob turned cold under my palm, their shouts chasing Harold's roar, Evelyn's wails, Fiona's curses. I buckled Harper in the car, her sniffles quieting as the engine hummed to life. The driveway receded in the mirror, their figures shrinking the bungalow, a shadow I'd outrun. The fire in my chest steadied to resolve no looking back. The fire burned steady as night deepened, the car's headlights cutting fog on the drive to a cheap motel. Harper dozed against the window, her breathing soft, while I gripped the wheel, mind racing with the app's green confirmations. Back in the room, the bed sagged under me, lamp casting long shadows as I double-checked the cancellations, rent draft, utilities, Fiona's startup wires, all severed, no reversal. I'd been their crutch too long, my librarian pay the glue holding their cracks. The motel coffee tasted like regret, but it fueled the call to Ellis at midnight. His voice crackled, alert on the line. "Valerie, bring the statements tomorrow 9 sharp. I forwarded the screenshot, sleep evading till dawn. Evelyn's text hit first time stamped 6 a.m. "Val, the bank's freezing accounts $20,000, buys time for the house. $20,000. As if my backpack in the gravel hadn't been the down payment on their wake-up. I typed back, thumb steady, "Freeloader doesn't owe you a house." The bubble showed typing, then nothing blocked. Ellis's office smelled of fresh printouts by 9, Denise arriving with her notebook, her eyes steely. "Saw Fiona's car at the casino last month. Harold's not the only one dipping in." We laid it out on the conference table. My inheritance portal logs the forged $20,000 withdrawal 3 months back, Fiona's cosign scrawl, Wesley's notary botch. "This is straight theft," Ellis said, circling the signature. "Add Harold's hidden credit line, $15,000 in revolving debt from warehouse loans, and you're at $35,000 total." Washington's got felony statutes for this. 5 years minimum. My neighbor Denise flipped her notes. Evelyn cashed a check from your account last week. Gift for Fiona's wedding, she said. Gift. The word soured Evelyn's temporary pleas flashing. Ellis drafted the demand by noon repay $35,000 in 90 days house as collateral or charges filed. Certified mail to their door, no loopholes. Harold barged in by two-face thunder Evelyn, clutching her purse like a shield, Fiona slinking behind with Wesley's hand in his. "This is a shakedown," Harold bellowed, veins bulging. "After all we've done." Ellis stayed cool. Done like forging signatures on her inheritance. Fiona's eyes darted. "It was a lone temporary mix-up," he stammered, voice cracking. Evelyn's tears started, handkerchief out. "Valerie, please, family doesn't do this." Family? As if hurling my things into dirt was family. Denise leaned forward. "Family doesn't raid savings for weddings while kids cry in corners." The cycle spun, Harold ranting, ungrateful. Evelyn sobbing, heartless. Fiona muttering, "You'll pay for this." Pay. The irony twisted bitter. Ellis slid the agreement. Signer court Monday. Harold's pen hovered, then scratched, furious, Evelyn's following, blotchy Fiona's last with a glare that promised war. Collateral locked payments to creditors, no escape. As they filed out defeated but seething, Harold shot back. "You'll regret cutting us loose." Regret I'd regretted staying too long. The door clicked shut, the room quiet at last. Quiet didn't last, the silence shattering by midweek with Evelyn's calls flooding my voicemail. "Valerie, the bank's seizing assets, bounced checks everywhere. We need $15,000 to stop the bleed." 15,000. As if my backpack in the mud hadn't been the first bleed. I let them stack the red notifications, a grim tally, while Harper's laughter from her playdate downstairs drowned the buzz. Fiona cracked first, showing up at the library during my break, his face gaunt under the fluorescent hum. "Sis, talk to me, this is insane." We stepped into the staff room, the coffee pot gurgling like a bad omen. He paced the narrow space hands, raking his hair. The guarantor clause on Dad's old line. "It's hitting us now, $15,000 more in penalties, all tied to your name." Penalties. The word hung Evelyn's temporary loans from the family trust unraveling into this. I signed because Wesley pushed, said it was for our future the wedding venue hold. Partial truth, his eyes avoiding mine, the cosign I'd spotted in the portal now confessed in whispers. "Mom knew too, thought you'd bail us out like always." Bail. As if Harper's tears were a deposit. I crossed my arms, the door's lock, clicking soft. "You hurled my things like trash. Now live in it." Rumors ignited by Friday, seeping through the family grapevine like oil on water. Denise texted from her shift. "Aunt Rita called Harold, spinning you're the ungrateful thief, hoarding inheritance while we starve." Reputation shredded in chain emails and group chats. Evelyn posting veiled hard times from betrayal on her social feed. Harold muttering to cousins about my cold heart. The isolation crept in, old friends side-eyeing at the grocery, but it armored me too. I've shelved returns alone, so this echo felt sharp but survivable. Financial dominoes toppled next, the guarantor debt unearthed in Ellis's follow-up audit, $15,000 tacked on from Harold's union advances, all looped back to the bungalow. Wesley bailed by weekend, his text curt, "Can't marry into this mess." Fiona's wedding venue canceled deposits, lost to fees, his barista shifts cut short after the scandal hit his boss's ears. The family split widened, Fiona blaming Harold in frantic voicemails, Evelyn pleading with me through blocked lines. "He's crumbling. Help us fix this." My advisor Nolan met me Monday, his office overlooking the sound charts spread wide. Total exposure $35,000 cleared means your salary rebounds fast emergency fund in 6 months, even a vacation jar. His breakdown grounded me projections mapping my librarian pay to stability, no more shadows. We sketched it, trim subscriptions, boost 401k scout, that Capitol Hill studio I'd eyed. Therapy followed that week with Denise, our session in a cozy cafe booth, steam rising from mugs. "You've held the line," she said, her spoon stirring slow. "But the rumors they're their poison, let them fester." Denise's stories of her own family rifts validated the ache her laugh light when I vented Fiona's blame. "They split because you stopped gluing their cracks." As waves lapped outside, the panic faded to resolve. No more gluing. The line held, their storm raging distant. The line held as months turned, carving out a life I'd only dreamed in stolen moments. By early summer, Harper and I settled into a cozy apartment in Bellevue, a 20-minute commute from the library, rent $1,300 a month, walls lined with her drawings and my bookshelves. Freelance editing gigs flowed, steady manuscript reviews, blog proofs adding $12,000 yearly to my salary, enough for Harper's dance classes and weekend picnics at Discovery Park. Mornings meant stacking pancakes while she chattered about school, afternoons free for storytime readings, her head on my lap, the world small and safe. I'd blocked every line, Harold, Evelyn, Fiona voicemails deleted, unread, their echoes fading like distant thunder. Foreclosure sealed their fate by fall, the bank auctioning the bungalow after penalties swallowed the equity. Movers hauled their things to storage. Harold's tools and Evelyn's knickknacks boxed in haste. Harold scraped a janitor spot at a mall, $15 an hour, pushing carts till dusk, his relapse hitting hard gambling apps deleted, but casino runs sneaking back, Denise's update terse, he's spiraling again. Evelyn took clerk work at a pharmacy, $11 an hour, scanning prescriptions. Her depression deepening into days lost to the couch, prescriptions piling for her own nerves. Fiona's wedding unraveled next, Wesley bolting after the fraud hit his family's ears, venue fees, non-refundable caterer liens stacking $5,000 in debt. His graphic design freelance dried up clients, ghosting post rumors, leaving him couch surfing with strangers. The irony sliced clean, they'd yelled, "Freeloader, get out!" Hurled my backpack to the trash, but now they begged in their own refuse, Harold pleading with old coworkers, Evelyn whispering to aunts for loans, Fiona posting temporary setback on feeds no one liked. I'd scroll Harper's art on my fridge, her crayon sun smiling bright, and feel the chains loosen. I'd been their scapegoat, my pay the family's ghost income. No more. 6 months on in our sunlit kitchen, I watched Harper glue glitter to a paper crown, her tongue out in focus. The apartment hummed with ours, coffee brewing, books open, no shadows of freeloader jabs. Family isn't obligation, it's mutual lift. They called me trash, but Harper's my treasure and I'm hers. That's the truth. Dignity demands you drop the dead weight. Toxic family drains, cut it off and you flourish. Your worth isn't what you give, it's who you are. If you've ever been the family's freeloader, know this: walking away isn't cruel, it's the kindest thing for your soul. Share your story below. What trash did you leave behind?